It is 7 p.m. on August 19th, and I call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 104, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Ms. Sears and seconded by Mr. Lemon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda is passed. Item 201, approval modification of minutes of the August 5th governing board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Sears and seconded by Mr. Lemon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item is passed. Item 301, open call to the public. We have no blue cards, so we are going to go straight to consent agenda. Item 401, approval of consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Sears and seconded by Mr. Lemon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item passes. Thank you to our generous donors and grant partners for their support of our school district. Your contributions make a meaningful difference for our students, staff, and schools. Superintendent Dr. Driscoll will also personally recognize and thank our supporters in his upcoming Celebrate Excellence message, which is next on our agenda, item 501. Dr. Driscoll.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. Tonight I have a few items to celebrate. 7th graders at Ward and 5th graders at Fuller are helping foster a love of reading in our youngest learners by acting as reading buddies. Older students have started joining their kindergartner peers in classrooms and media centers, sharing books and encouraging their excitement about stories and learning. The experience gives kindergarten students an opportunity to strengthen their early literacy skills with support of an older peer, while giving older students the chance to practice leadership, communication, and mentorship. I'm proud to announce that our district has been recognized by the Alliance for a Healthier Generation through its America's Healthiest Schools Award program. This national recognition reflects our ongoing commitment to creating healthy, supportive environments where our students and staff have the resources and opportunities they need to thrive. Last year, more than 1,000 schools around the country earned this recognition across 9 focus areas related to student and staff health and well-being. These include improving nutrition and food access, bolstering physical education and activity, and enriching healthy education, among others. I would like to thank our community partners and generous donors for their donations and grant awards. Your gifts help ensure our students have access to supplies and experiences they need to thrive both in and out of the classroom. Our donors and grant supporters include Via Sun, who donated backpacks and school supplies for Frank students and their classrooms. Phoenix Children's Hospital and State Farm, who donated 100 bikes and helmets for Broadmoor's 4th graders. And Sprouts, who gave Rover the Healthy Community Foundation Grant Award. And lastly, the Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation for a grant supporting Connolly Middle School's baseball team. And that concludes my Celebrate Excellence for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Driscoll. Item 601, presentation. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Gwen Marr, who will provide this update on literacy endorsement. Dr. Marr, thank you for being here, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, President Windsor, members of the board, Dr. Driscoll, and the community. I am excited to be with you today to talk about the way in which we're supporting all of our staff through this literacy endorsement that ADE has enacted. The presentation and the way that we're supporting our staff aligns to our strategic plan to ensure that we provide ongoing education, mentorship, and professional development to all staff. And before I discuss the literacy endorsement and the ways in which we're supporting, I wanted to clarify 3 of our positions that surround and support literacy this evening. The first position is our literacy project manager, and the literacy project manager, they support our K-8 teachers in literacy instruction and the rollout of literacy programs. So if we think around core instruction that every student receives. Our literacy specialist role directly works with students who need additional support, so a tier 2, that next layer of support. And then our foundational literacy coach is a new grant-funded position that you learned about last board meeting, and it is a grant-funded position through ADE for a specialized coach to work with 2 schools, Curry and Frank, and that position will work specifically with our K-3 teachers. So that is how we are delineating and the explanation of the three different positions within our district. Moving on to the endorsement, Senate Bill 1572 was signed into law in 2021, which amended a current bill. This bill states that literacy endorsements must be obtained by 2028, or the teacher is considered no longer appropriately certified. That is the language within the bill. So who does this impact? This endorsement will be required for any individual who receives a teaching certificate in the following areas: early childhood education, elementary education, middle grades education, and special educators who provide literacy instruction to K-5. So if we currently have a middle school teacher, this does not apply to them. It is if they are providing literacy instruction in the K-5 grade. This also this endorsement can be fulfilled if you have a reading specialist endorsement or a reading endorsement for K-8 or K-12. So some may say, what does this endorsement represent? They may ask that. So when a teacher gets the literacy endorsement, it demonstrates that they can effectively teach foundational reading skills. It also demonstrates that the teachers are able to implement high-quality instructional materials. And lastly, they're able to provide effective instruction for students who may have dyslexia. With this endorsement, there are two waiver options. The first waiver option is for the coursework only. So every K-5 teacher who teaches literacy needs two parts. They need to fulfill the coursework, and then they need to pass the exam. So the first waiver option says that you are waived of this endorsement if we have verified, Tempe has verified that the teacher has provided literacy instruction in K-5 for 3 consecutive years, and that they have demonstrated that they have the knowledge and skills to effectively teach reading. In addition, they have to have a passing score on the Foundations of Reading exam. This is provided by Pearson. That is the only exam that they are allowed to take to fulfill this requirement. There also is a second waiver option, and this is for the coursework and the exam. And the first qualifier is that the LEA verifies that the teacher has provided literacy instruction in K-5 for 3 consecutive years, and again, has demonstrated that they have the knowledge and skills to effectively teach reading. Additionally, Tempe needs to verify that at least 90% of the educator's full academic year students are proficient on the ELA portion of the statewide assessment. 3 consecutive years. Yes. So at this point, I'd like to talk about how we have supported our educators in getting this endorsement. We have offered 2 comprehensive pathways. First, we've offered letters. Letters actually was good. The letter licenses were good through the summer of 2026, and we had 137 employees who completed this program. We had 38 people who dropped from the program and 28 who left the system. Currently, one person's cost for letters ranges between $1,500 and $2,400 per seat, depending on which level of letters they take and if they have the materials or need the materials. So that's why there's a range of cost. We also have offered a second opportunity between the years of 2023 and 2024, where we were actually awarded a grant of about $82,000. This paid for 2 Pima Community College courses for 33 teachers. On top of that, the teachers would go through the courses, and at the completion, they would receive a $773 stipend. Each school was able to nominate 2 teachers, and fewer than 1/3 of the awarded teachers actually participated or completed the program. So we ended up giving $50,000 back to ADE. So this information was gathered, and we, in May of 2026, we have 136 teachers of our 348 staff who needed to begin the coursework. When we looked at our current options for programming, we priced out 5 different options, ranging up from the cost of $40,000 to upwards of $267,000. When I brought these options to the table, we discussed our current financial status and as well as options for free programming that currently existed. So ASU has a free endorsement program that runs summer, fall, and spring. And ADE also has several free options. So currently, we are encouraging our staff to enroll in the free options. We are not pursuing additional paid options. So our partnership with ASU has actually expanded. We're very excited. We have many teachers currently enrolled. Unfortunately, they're not able to give me exact names because of confidentiality reasons. But we do have a process in place where we are going to identify every single staff member and where they are in the process. We also offer support sessions for those who are being alternatively certified through our Tempe Future Educators program. ASU also offers ongoing free office hours for people in the free program if they need additional study sessions or additional support to learn the coursework. And then, like I said, we have a plan for a mid-year check for the numbers of teachers still needing endorsements so that we can monitor and adjust our support plan. We are continuously, regularly sharing all of the free options, and I'm keeping track of when I've sent out the emails, how often we're sending out the emails. And we actually are bringing together a whole support committee to continue to support our staff members as we meet this requirement for 2028. So at this point, I will open it up to questions.
Thank you, Dr. Marr. Mr. Terry has some questions.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Dr. Marr. Appreciate it. Do you know how much, about roughly how much that Pearson test cost?
I do not know how much that Pearson
I was
test
just
costs.
curious.
I can get back to you on that.
That's okay. I was just curious. Do we have any information about why 2/3 of those who got that award didn't accept it or didn't participate?
Unfortunately, I do not, because I had to gather historical information.
Yeah.
I started it in 2024, and I think they're in the midst of that, but I can find out.
Yeah.
I can find out that information,
Okay.
yes.
And then do you know, in order to make this happen, do you know what roughly the time commitment is for teachers?
It varies depending on the program. Much of it is asynchronous, with some in-person Saturday hours that are required. When we ran the letters cohort, we ran some study sessions and things like that as well. It is a very intensive endorsement to receive, and the exam is very tough. We have provided guidance for all of our staff members around a study guide and sample questions that ADE has provided. And so we have a memo that we continuously send out and say, please, if you need practice on the exam, here's some example exam questions and things like that. But yeah, it depends on the program, but it is intensive.
I mean, is it something that someone could do like over fall break, or is it like?
So currently, that's a great question. So to give you an idea, ASU's program runs the summer, fall, and spring, so normally a semester they give. And there is a part A and a part B, because they have to get they have to get the foundational reading piece, and then they have to get the dyslexia portion as well. So a semester to a year is what I would, half a year to a year is what ASU is estimating. But again, it depends on the learner, it depends on
Yeah.
who's taking it, so.
I mean, is it equivalent to like, I mean, it's not equivalent to like full-time for a semester, is it? Or
Absolutely not, no.
Like one class, like a
It's one
three-quarter
class.
class or something?
Yes, it's one
Okay,
class.
That's
Yep.
not too bad. And it's every elementary school teacher, basically, that has to do
K-5
this?
that teaches literacy instruction, so that does include our special educators as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, just the implication that our teachers didn't know how to teach kids to read before it bothers me, but, okay, well, it sounds like we're doing what we can, so thank you for that, appreciate it.
Ms. Ewers.
Okay, so you saw me just like fall over in my chair, and I want to explain why I'm falling over in my chair and why I'm screaming inside very loudly. My first question is this an example of a state mandate that's not funded?
Yes. Although they would say now that they're providing grant funds for free programming, but they did, that
They
is late in the
didn't
game.
for those, yeah, earlier. Maybe because people couldn't afford to do it. Now, in the business world that I'm in, when I've needed like my Series 7, or I needed some sort of class to get a degree or to get a certification to do my job, the company had paid for it. I also was paid for the time that it took me to go and do it. And is that like what everyone does? No, but is it what most do? Yes. So where I was also falling off my chair was for our teachers. So people say, oh, I don't feel bad for our teachers because they get summers off, they get holidays, and so they have more time off. Now, I just heard Mr. Thierry ask how intense this program is, and it's pretty difficult. And I know that when I go on vacation, the last thing that I want to do on vacation is study, because then it's no longer a vacation. Like, I feel like I'm going back into college again. So are they really getting time off, is my question to the public and to the state legislature. Now, do I want my teachers to teach at their best ability? Yes. Do I want them to be informed? Do I want them to know the best practices? Yes. Do I feel that TD3 is letting our teachers down? No. So my frustration is that the public needs to understand that our teachers are being asked to do things above and beyond with the salary they make that doesn't have extras for college curriculum in it, on time of theirs that should be the time that they either A, have off or have been afforded to, which the public has already told me is a benefit to the job. So now we've taken the benefit of the job away too. So frankly, I get as a school board member to stand up for some of our people, and I'm going to stand up for them right now, and I am going to speak to our legislators about it, because I don't think any of them would be okay with having to do this themselves. It's not your fault. And at the same time, if I can completely understand why people dropped out. I'd say, you know what, I'm out. When I travel other countries, I'm going to use Australia for an example. I go to Australia, right? I walk into a restaurant, a family restaurant, your equivalent to an Applebee's. And when you're sitting there eating, if your school teacher walks in, this is what's required of you. Until they sit down. The teacher, their teacher, the entire family, and especially the kids, they treat teachers with more respect than they do the doctors, because without a teacher, we don't have doctors. And this, to me, is starting to become revolting. And I'm using this platform right now to say that I'm going to stand up for my teachers. Those who are going to do it, thank you. I'm proud of you for doing it. I want you to continue to be educated. I want you to continue to teach our kids. I want you to continue to ask questions and let us know, our specialists know, if you need help in the fields you do. But if any of them think that I am okay with them using time after work, their money that they barely have, and we have several teachers who are single moms and single fathers, they are living under the poverty line. We have teachers right now who actually did have SNAP benefits until they were canceled. This is a big picture of literally treating an entire group of people that are helping harvest the future of this nation like, I can't say the word. But I'm sick and tired of it. I on the board want Dr. Driscoll to know, I want you to know that I'm grateful for the extra time, because you know what? We spend way too much time at administrative costs. So now we have all these administrative costs to make sure that every single teacher is getting this accreditation that's an unfair mandate. And we have proven to them that we know what we're doing. We have proven to them that we take care of our kids. And at every possible solution and every possible instance, I know you guys don't let our kids down. So we have a real big problem right now, and we've got an election coming up. And if we keep crapping on our kids, this is not what the United States of America is built to do. This is not how we became the home of the free and the greatest country in the world, because we are now not the greatest country in the world. We treat the greatest, most important people in our lives like crap right now. And we have teachers up here with us right now. So this is, as you can see, I'm passionate about it. I want our teachers to know. I want our union to know, or not our union, our association, to know that I've got their back on it. It's absolutely ridiculous. But at the same time, whatever we can do and whatever I can do to support them to get it done, please contact the office and let them know what they need. Because we got to figure out a way. And we got to keep our good teachers. We got to keep them. Thank you for listening to my rant.
Thank you, Ms. Hewers. Mr. Lemon.
Thank you, Madam President. Dr. Marr, we talked before the meeting started about all these teachers that dropped out of the program, the cost of the program. One of the things that I saw on our personnel agenda tonight was that there was educational increments to some of our teachers. Will they get educational increments, or will this count towards it?
This, I believe, will count towards it, absolutely, because it is coursework that is approved both by us and the state level, so yes.
All right. That was that question, and we have several options you wanted us to know about, that where we could go with some of these more cost-effective measures and still get us there. Do you have some recommendations on those, or your team?
Well, currently we are funneling our staff both to the ADE free options and the ASU free options. We have created quite a strong partnership with ASU, and they are adding more cohorts as they're seeing the need across the valley. And so I am in consistent communication with ASU around our numbers, which is why we're going to reconvene mid-year at the year and a half out, right? We'll be a year and a half out before this is technically due, if you will. And so that constant communication, I'm giving them numbers so that they continue to add more cohorts for free for our staff. They've been an incredible partner.
That's great. Do you know if they have an intersession where they offer this, a condensed thing?
Yes, so they offer, depends on their staffing as well. So they have agreed to offer another one this fall and then another one in the spring. They have not yet given me those dates.
Yeah, I found that an interesting way to get people exposed in a dramatic all-day session all weekend for 2 or 3 weekends a month. And I just thought that this might be something that we could do with some nudging.
Yes, so they are, like I said, we've entered into this partnership, so we're actually going to see, they can't provide me specific names due to confidentiality, but they are going to see at the end of this cohort how many of our teachers, they can give me a number, right, finish. And I'm actually in contact with some of our current teachers to give me feedback on the barriers, what's working, what's not working as they're going through the ASU program, so that we can, again, continue to be in true partnership with one another.
And finally, Madam President, Dr. Marr, what's the downside if we don't make this in a year and a half from now?
It's an excellent question. So to be clear, we've gotten somewhat of a vague response. We will have to send out a letter that says that the teacher isn't appropriately certified. And that's the most guidance that we've gotten so far.
You know, my management where I work, they send out a letter and say it's time to do your email security. And if I don't do it, I lose my privilege. And so I always do it because I don't want to have to explain to my management why I didn't do it. and why they're on the list to chew me out. And so that's, it kind of trickles down. And I don't know if the principals know on their staff who's properly certified in this and who isn't.
It's a great question. We're currently actually, we put a process in place where we are actually going to go in to the ADE portal to see who currently has it on their certification and who does not, so we can share that list with principals. However, the numbers that I did share with you in May, those were actually all collected by the principals themselves, just having a caring, loving conversation with their teachers. So we noted 4 categories: people who had completed everything, completed coursework, no exam, have attempted the exam, have not yet passed, and then haven't started anything. And so I have the numbers for each of those categories. And that was driven by the principals.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. Dr. Driscoll, I'm glad to see that we're moving forward on this, and hopefully the kids will benefit. I mean, that's our goal. I can't retire until they start paying Social Security. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lemon. Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Madam President. You mentioned that there was like a Saturday component to some of the programs.
Yes.
Are they paid for that Saturday?
At this time, no.
For this literacy endorsement, does the state provide funding once they get that endorsement?
Funding, once they get the
Like,
endorsement?
do we get like some sort of pay bump? Do we get to the teachers once they receive an endorsement? Okay, so to the end, that this is like a unfunded mandate, but we have a free program. To me, the cost is the work, It's not like my board member here saying, I have to do my email certification. Well, you at least get to do that on the clock. All of this is done on unpaid hours. This is an unpaid mandate done off the clock, and this is the time that they're taking to recuperate, to rest. I mean, I'm sorry. The fact, if someone wants to sit at home all day and just watch TV, that's off the clock time, and that's totally fine. People are allowed to just rest, family time, time away that is needed, and this is absurd to me that we're asking our teachers of this. I don't have a question other than this is a normative issue that I have an issue with, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Well, we've had sharing of lots of big feelings tonight. And I echo what all of my fellow board members have said, but I do want to explore a different side of this. I tend to have a dual response to unfunded mandates. I, as an individual having to go through it, usually approach it with drudgery. But as a board member, I feel all of these feelings. But I also have the side of me that is completely okay with us being asked to keep on learning. And I think that it's easy to become complacent in that pursuit if we aren't prodded. So part of me, it doesn't hate that we keep on being asked to improve. It certainly has been no surprise that reading scores have been plummeting for decades. It's just recently become newsworthy because Mississippi Miracle is a great buzzword, right? Buzz phrase. And so now, I think that's actually where I get pissed off the most. We've been okay with kids struggling for decades. But now that it's hitting the headlines, now we're going to say, this falls on the teacher. But what do we all know about most reading research? Most reading research typically circles back to the strongest readers come from homes of readers. So I guess my question is, and you may not know the answer, and that's fine, but if you do you know if this mandate applies to anybody receiving ESA funds? Since they are solely responsible at that point for their own education, not just partially, like a parent who sends their child to public school.
I am unaware of that answer, but I am happy to dig in.
I would love to just know if you have the time. My guess is this is going to be a very quick research project, and I'm pretty sure I know what the outcome will be. However, I do think that it's valid if we're going to talk about the science of reading, science of literacy, I can't remember which phrase it is. We should also look at how strong readers are developed, not just the nuts and bolts of what we can do in the classroom, but maybe holding the very people who have the most influence on their children's academic achievement, holding them more responsible for their responsibility in producing children and raising them. So my second thing, and thank you for looking that up, I appreciate it, is Pearson is the sole source provider of the test. I think I'm going to do a little bit of research on that procurement. But I've wondered while you were presenting why there hasn't been state recommendations for more, what's the word? Higher quality resources. Like, is the state saying, like, this is the curriculum that?
There
Okay.
actually is a list of vendors that the state works with to provide this training. And ASU is one of them.
I'm sorry, I wasn't clear when I asked the question. Curriculum for the students
Oh,
that the
yes.
teachers must use.
There actually is
Okay.
an approved list of curriculum. They have them ranked, color-coded. If it's in the red, you're not supposed to be using it, or you have, a certain amount of time to get a different resource. Yes, there is a state-approved list of resources, yes.
So based off of that description, I'm assuming that there's more than one provider on that
Absolutely.
list.
Yes.
Okay, and if they're ranked, that means that there's clear winners and clear losers.
There are some that meet all of the requirements, so there may be some that, that you can choose from that are all at the same level playing field.
Okay, so we choose one test to assess all teachers, but we don't give them one clearly vetted curriculum to utilize in their classroom. We still are letting them kind of choose your own adventure in some ways. I mean, districts should be providing guidance, but we know that that doesn't always happen. And we also know that once you close that classroom door, it doesn't always happen, regardless of what district has asked people to do. We know that that happens. This is all very fascinating to me. So I appreciate you sitting here and taking all the questions that obviously are not within your control. And I appreciate the information. I especially appreciated the transition from the positions into that. It was very smooth, by the way. I think, see no other lights. We don't have any other questions? No need.
I will get the answers to these questions to you shortly.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time and effort. Thanks, Dr. Marr. All right, items 701 through 705. These, oh, actually, no, excuse me, 701. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary, everyone. We are up for our annual voting on who will be our delegate and alternate delegate at the Arizona School Board Association Delegate Assembly on Wednesday, September 9th. Now, I do know that this is a little bit of a different format than what we've had in the past. This is not on a Saturday. This is during the pre-conference section. There was a little bit of debate in Agenda Committee on whether you have to be, sorry, I have hiccups, registered for the you don't.
I don't believe you. This is a separate registration.
Okay, so you can be a delegate if you have not, even if you have not registered for the pre-conference. So don't let that hold you back. So let's just get this out of the way, this part. Who's saying, I'm too busy, I can't go? Oh, well, those lights went up fast. Woo, boom, boom, boom. All four, all right. Who wants to go first? Mr. Terry, can't go because it's a Wednesday and you're teaching.
It's a Wednesday and I'm teaching and I don't have any general leave days.
Okay. Mr. Miller, it's a Wednesday and you're working?
Thank you, Madam President. It's a Wednesday, and I'm in the office that day.
Okay. Mr. Lemon, Still not retired.
I'm still not retired. I'll be out of town on a business trip, actually, that week.
Okay, you're going to turn in your itinerary, right? Miss Ewers, self-employed.
Because I am so in touch with my big feelings today, I am going to happily go to the delegate on behalf of this board, and I will represent us and stand up for the things that we want the legislature to know about.
With that magnanimous offer, if you guys don't want to have to actually nominate an alternate, I will offer myself as a sacrificial lamb as an alternate. I mean, I would gladly serve as an alternate.
And don't forget this.
Yeah, this is called collateral. Okay, so we do have to have a vote, but we self-nominated, so however you want to do it.
Madam President, I make a motion that Board Member Ewers be our delegate and President Windsor be the alternate to the delegate assembly.
Okay, and may I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lemon and seconded by Mr. Terry. Everyone in favor of this?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Surprise, surprise. Thank you, guys. All right, I'm glad I know you so well. 702. Now, 702 through 705 are all the second reads and adoptions. So we will go through to see if anybody has any questions, concerns, or requested amendments. Actually, we're not going to do amendments. We were supposed to do that in one first read. So, Dr. Driscoll, we're going to turn it over to you for 702 because I believe you have some information to share with the board regarding the policy so that we can review it and consider it.
Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome.
Yes, in my document, if you go to page 58 of 76, so it's the fourth page for this policy. Mine says page 8 on my document. I could be different. Is it? Yeah. So, yep. Page, yeah, that's it. So on mine, it's page 8 in the top right-hand corner. Theirs is 5. Okay. Yours is 5, mine is 8. All right. So on page 5 of your document, one of the things I want to bring to your attention is is theirs letter A like mine? Do they have a letter A? Okay. If you see where it says the purchase amount is less than 10,000 and that's crossed out and then they have the 15,000. So I do know what I'm talking about reading? Okay. Yeah. So page 8, top right corner.
Just so you know, we do know our numbers. The first part is in the 20s, and the last part are single digits. So I just want to let everybody know who elected us. We do know our numbers. Just a little confused on this. We're good.
All right. So I want to bring to your attention, and Eric, chime in if I'm making this up, but for like years, there used to be a number of $10,000, anything less than $10,000, and now that's changed to $15,000. And I can't remember, it was at the USFR. So the USFR changed, and so I just wanted to highlight, if you guys vote today and keep this policy as it is, then all our other policies that we have 10,000 in procedures, I will change to 15,000 to match that. So, and I will send that to you guys, but every procedure that we have that has 10,000, I would move it to the 15,000 to match what you guys vote on today. So I wanted to make that known to you guys. And then the only other thing in this one is they have an optional recommended by the Auditor General, and it says the district shall seek to obtain. So if you guys want to add that language, you'll have to vote and say, I want the optional language added by the Auditor General for this policy. So,
Okay, so there's 2 points, right? There's the 10 to 15,000 change
Yep.
that we can choose to stay with the 10 or go with the 15.
correct.
And I'm assuming, Mr. Thompson, that that has to do with inflation. Is that accurate or no?
Some of it, as Dr. Driscoll said, the USFR guidelines, I think it's to also match the federal guidelines for the purchasing amount for that. So anything below 15,000 would not require quotes. You'd need to have the 3 quotes for any purchases above 15,000.
Okay. Okay, got it. And then the second part is the optional language about, I'm assuming, signing a form about conflict of interest, and we did used to do that.
We do.
Do we? Every year? We already do it.
And I think one of the languages shall seek to attain within that 5 days. And we checked, if you don't make it in that 5 days, it doesn't say it's 5 days, so you shall seek. So as long as you made an attempt to obtain it, I think you would be, by the letter of this, good if you didn't make it in the 5 days. So if you did day 6, you would be good.
Okay. All right, Ms. Ewers has a question.
Well, that is a question, because this is policy, and I'm a little policy. Can we edit the 5 days? Because if you have somebody who is elected and coming on, and let's say the date isn't, we don't have a school board meeting until, in January, and we elected them in November, it's a little hard to get a signature in 5 days. So this is a concern of mine. I would like to say maybe by the second school board calendar meeting, or by the second week or of the school.
Within the month of January.
Yeah, within the month of January, or, I don't know, if the world ends, there's not a January, that would be a policy problem, but I feel 5 days, and I feel like this needs to be edited a little bit, and since it's our policy, we can.
Yes. Or you can just not even
Not use it.
add the optional language as well. This is optional. It's just the Auditor General recommends that you add this to the policy, but it's optional. So you could say no, and then you could just keep the policy as it is written. So you can do one or two ways. You can do that and change the Auditor General's, or you can just not include the optional language.
Okay, seeing no other lights, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to, one, accept the $15,000 and change all policy from 10 to 15. And I make a motion to not use the Auditor General's wording and to keep our current policy.
May I have a second?
Madam President, I'll make a second to this bifurcated motion that my board member made.
Bifurcated?
It's a big word.
Oh my goodness, I'm looking it up. Mr. Thierry has a question.
I'm so sorry. Can I ask a question real quick? I'm confused. Forgive my ignorance here. I'm just looking at this, and this says that it's for districts with fewer than 3,000 students. Is that what we're voting on?
That's just that subheading.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, thanks.
Good question.
Mr. Miller, I see consternation on your face.
I was just having fun with bifurcated.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item passes unanimously. You will be editing 10,000 to 15,000. Thank you, board. 703, second review and adoption of proposed changes to governing board policy 3102 revenue. Dr. Driscoll, I believe you have an overview of this policy and will share some information with us to review and to consider.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, in this policy, the board has to choose one of the two options. So on page 10 on my document in the top right-hand corner, There's two options. So there's option one, the board shall pre-approve all student activity fundraising events, or option two, the board delegates the superintendent authority to pre-approve all student activity fundraising events. The board retains discretion to approve any individual fundraising events. And then there's another section right underneath there. So whatever you guys choose, you'll have to say either option one or option two, so that when we put it in the policy, that we use that language.
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the changes to policy 3-102 revenue and choose option 2.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Do we have any questions or concern, or ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, item passes with option 2 as the choice. Okay, 704, second review and adoption of proposed changes to the governing board policy 3-103, expenses and payroll. Now, Dr. Driscoll, I've been told that you have something to share with us to consider and read.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, I do. On page 17, on the top right corner, this policy also has another option under the expenditure limits. So option one says the cost of any food and/or beverage provided shall not exceed the per person per meal reimbursement limits set forth in the State of Arizona Accounting Manual 5025, less the identified requirement for travel. So this policy, MI 3-103. And then page 17, which is the, yeah. Keep going, it's in the procedure.
Madam President, as a state employee, we don't get a lot of money, but I think it's more than what's listed here in option 2.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lemon, can you say that, what you just said again? I'm sorry, you don't get a lot of money, but what?
It's an option 1 is set to the reimbursement limits set forth in the Arizona County Manual. Option 2 is a dollar amount. But I think the state accounting manual has larger amounts total for the travel and meals than this option 2 for breakfast and lunch, whatever. The dollar amount.
Okay. Mr. Miller?
Madam President, also, I just think, I don't know, they probably adjust more frequently, whereas us having to like go in back into the thing being like, hey, we need to move the dollar amount because inflation or whatever. It just, I don't know. Option 1 makes more sense.
Mr. Thompson, on that, the accounting manual, it's divided by location and then season or months or something like that?
President Windsor, that's correct. For the Phoenix area, the season doesn't change. But as Mr. Lemon said, it is slightly higher. Breakfast is $15 instead of $13. Lunch is $19 instead of $18. And dinner actually is $42 instead of $22.
Yeah, when I looked at that, I said, well, you can go to Chick-fil-A for dinner.
Does this feel like to anybody else that the whole class is getting punished for one or two unruly? Just wondering. Okay, do we have a motion for this one?
I move to go with option 1, the cost of any food or beverage provided shall not exceed the per person per meal reimbursement limit set forth by the State of Arizona County Manual 5025, less the identified requirement for travel.
And a second? Moved by Ms. Ewers and seconded by Mr. Lemon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, item passes. 705, second review and adoption of proposed changes to governing board policy 3-108 audit. I do not believe you have anything to say on this, Dr. Driscoll.
No, you guys left me speechless.
Okay, motion, please?
I gotta find it.
It's the very last one.
They're all messed up for me now.
Oh, here.
Hold on. striking.
Madam President, I'd make a motion to approve policy 3-108 audits with the change that the governing board shall approve the independent certified public accountant or firm that will conduct requisite financial and compliance audits and shall approve the proposed audit contract forms.
Okay, and we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, item passes. Okay. The next portion of this meeting, there will be no page numbers, so 801, board members' points of information. Mr. Thierry.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, shout out to my wife. She found out today she's ABD. All she has to do is finish her dissertation, and then she'll be Dr. Thierry, which is huge for our family. That's the only way we were getting a Dr. Thierry. I had to marry into one. The only problem is her dissertation is on ESAs and how they're ruining education in our state. So she was on one last night, and so was I. We had a Supreme Court ruling that struck down a ballot measure that we were trying to get put on the ballot. And there were a lot of people who were celebrating that, like they won an election, and they didn't. They didn't win anything. They stopped an election from happening, and that's weird to celebrate that. The same people will say that ESAs are popular in our state. Well, then why wouldn't you want it to go to a ballot? Like, why wouldn't you want to see it win and then dunk on us and say, see, I told you so? Like, the only reason you'd want to stop that is because you know it was going to lose, and they know it was going to lose. So that's certainly disappointing to see. There are current governing board members who support ESA vouchers. There are current governing board candidates who support our ESA system. And that's just that's so bizarre to me. When you see these folks who support ESAs, they're not running for governing board this term, they're running for Congress next term. That's the only reason why you would do that. I can't imagine being on the governing board of Target and saying, yeah, not everybody wants to shop at Target. Sometimes Costco works for people. Sometimes Walmart works for people. No, you don't want to be on Target's board for that. You're 10 toes down for your board. Make yours better. That's just so bizarre to me. I can't just, the defeatist attitude of just giving up. Like, they say that public schools don't work for everybody. We're the only entity that's legally required to strive to work for everybody. And that we're the ones that don't. And it's just so backwards. It started, because, charter schools and whatnot started because districts weren't supporting everybody. But now when you look at who is taking advantage of these scholarship accounts, it tends to be pretty wealthy families. The part that bothers me the most is they're allowed to do rollover like we're not. So if you qualify for an ESA account, let's say in kindergarten, you don't have to use any of that money. You can just bank it. And then in first grade, you bank it again. And in second grade, you bank it again. You can keep going all the way through college. And you can use that money for college. That adds up to like $80,000 or more, $90,000. And that's not a merit-based scholarship like ASU would award. That's not a need-based scholarship that you would get from the FAFSA. That's neither. So we're talking about parents who didn't need the ESA money the whole time, otherwise known as rich parents. We're talking about kids who didn't get merit-based scholarships. So this is a college scholarship for rich parents with mediocre students. My son Sean had a 4.2 GPA. He got a 1420 on the SAT, and he got $8,000 a year. Why is it that this kid gets 25 grand and these kids who barely get into college are able to bank all this money and get it paid for free? That sort of thing just really bothers me. I'm tired of hearing about parents' rights in education. I've got 4 kids. I sit up here, I've been a public school teacher, I've been a college access advisor at ASU. I promise you being a parent is the least qualifying thing about me. I have a dog too. That doesn't mean I argue with Dr. Wells. I have a car. It doesn't mean I argue with Gene at Gene's Auto Works. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. We have this multi-billion dollar industry for birth control because that's how easy it is to be a parent. Our most controversial law in this country is abortion because that's how easy it is to become a parent. You don't know anything about this because you're a parent. It doesn't mean anything. And in every boardroom in the country, we have Dr. So-and-so, Dr. So-and-so, Dr. So-and-so. We used to call these people experts. What happened, man? Like, why do these people all of a sudden not know what they're talking about anymore? That sort of thing, it just absolutely makes no sense. And what's What's happened is we've allowed the people who want to defund us define what success and failure is. When they say that our schools are failing, like, who told you that? Like, who told you that? I did a lot of work with this when I was with the Meta Network at ASU, and Madam President, I want to push back a little bit. Our reading scores haven't been plummeting for decades. NAEP peaked in 2012, and they're certainly falling since then. And our achievement gap between our Black students and our Hispanic students was shrinking quite a bit and starting to widen again, especially since COVID, and that's definitely a concern. But we feed all our kids now. I mean, we have full-day kindergarten now. We have certified librarians with master's degrees in all of our libraries. I don't think that our schools are significantly worse, and I think we need to take back defining what some of these things are, because it's not up to them, because they're going to keep saying that we're failing because it's up to them. So parents' rights in education is nonsense. I'm tired of hearing that term. Another term I'm tired of hearing is school choice. They made up that term too. I used to live in Mesa, and we sent our kids here to TD3. That's school choice. We have a kid at McCamey, we had a kid at Connolly, we had a kid, I mean, we're all out of district for all of this, but we were still sending them to a district school. That's school choice. They're using school choice to mean you just get to make stuff up and do whatever you want. It's parents' rights in education. Parents don't know more about education than we do. They don't know about medicine than doctors do. Parents have taken charge of their kids' health care. Measles are back. So, that part bothers me, and I'm talking to myself. I'm a parent too. But to those folks who would want to be on a governing board, who are running for governing board, whatever, I know we have 3 candidates in the room. You can't in any way, shape, or form be for this. They're taking money from us. They're hiding, we don't know where it's going. And it's making public education worse. And it's not a victory for them to take something off the ballot. It's just anti-democratic. So if you ever see any of these folks who are in the business of public school and they say they're for ESAs, I highly encourage you to support their opponent. So, thank you.
Ms. Ewers.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd want to thank everyone for curriculum night. When I started this 7 years ago, whatever, a while back, curriculum night, we'd have like a few people. And I remember, Dr. Driscoll, you said, well, we're just, don't get too upset, but you're not going to have that many people attending. And it was highly attended this year. So kudos to the schools, kudos to Brittany and her group getting the communication out that we're having it. And it is hard because a lot of them started at 4:30 and then parents had to run to another school and do this and that. So I want to say kudos to the parents because some of them probably didn't get paid for those hours or had to take off work or it added a little bit of stress to their family life as it is to ours. But it was totally worth it to know what our kids are learning. And to Mr. Thierry's, to support what Mr. Thierry said, I am no expert in science or ELA and especially going into the classroom, I was put in my place. I just thought, wow, this is unbelievable what they're learning and the way they're learning it. So for the parents who attended, thank you. And thank you for showing up more, because that's truly what we can call wraparound services for our families. It might not be in the healthcare sector or with food, which we do offer also, but it's wrapping the family around what's happening with their child. And I can't see that wouldn't be a benefit for their lives. So thank you, because I know that people stayed and didn't get paid to do that. I went to the For Our City event this week where Dr. Driscoll was one of our speakers and he rocked it. I was so proud to be a Tempe Elementary school board member in that meeting. There's a lot of changes. I said something earlier where I was like, we're not letting our kids down with reading. And I'm sure I'm going to get emails on that. Sure, we're letting our kids down, blah, 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 whatever. We aren't letting our kids down. We are continuing to change how we come to them. It's time for us to no longer teach saying this is how it is and this is how you're going to learn. Dr. Driscoll is consistently learning what things make these children tick. And I'm so grateful for that. He reads, he goes to clinics. He doesn't get paid to do them. He actually has to leave. It's not on our time. He goes to other schools. He goes to other states. He sees what are they doing better? And he brings it back, which is what every single leader in this country should be doing. If you're a leader, you should be going wherever you lead in. You should be going to that location that somebody's doing it better than you are and bringing it back, and he's doing that. And the staff is following suit. And I'm grateful for that. So that it was nice to like let our community know. And we didn't even touch on the fact that we have a esports complex that looks like Star Wars from Disneyland, or that we are doing, virtual reality learning so the kids can actually almost like feel what they're learning, because we all know that that's how we all remember is from experiences. And a lot of our families don't have the time or money to take their children to do these experiments and to do these experiences. And in one of the virtual reality demos that we all did, we went to the Capitol. Well, first of all, even if you took your family there, you got to know somebody to get into the Capitol, and then you got to go, you don't just get to walk into the Capitol. So to give our children these experiences is going to stay in their mind forever. So just good job, Dr. Driscoll. I came in fired up, as y'all couldn't tell. And so I'm waving the flag. Teachers, parents, family members, college students, voters. Prop 320. I'm not going to tell you how to vote on it, but what I am going to do is tell you, being in education, I've learned that if you have a problem, you spend some time educating yourself on what this means. So I spent the last 3 days going through this, and I called some other districts and stuff, and then I was on a meeting this afternoon just to hear, like, what is it that people are doing about this? And I'm not going to go into depth because there's a time and place for that. But I got back from them, it looks like we're going to have to consolidate bus routes. Okay, well, we already did that. Check. So we can't do that. And everybody I know was upset when we had to change, like, this group is going to be on this time of day, and this group's going to be on this time of day, and we're going to have less bus drivers because we can't get bus drivers. But now we're going to be forced into doing it, but we already did it. So that's not an option. Reduce SRO officers, counselors, less security on campus, and higher counselor-student ratio. So a lot of these we've had to do, right, Stephen? We've had to do this. Okay, and the one that's not an option for me is reducing the counselor-student ratio. It just doesn't seem smart in a time where we've all been talking about, oh, the kids these days, they need support, or all the kids these days, or we have like some of the highest suicide rate in the world, and we're willing to say, okay, that could go. Oh, and then, okay, another idea. This is a good one. We're gonna reduce custodial staffing and do less cleanings. Oh, we've already done that. Shoot, we can't do that one. Oh my gosh, these ideas were great, but wow, I'm running out of them. Oh, and so are all the schools that had already done them. So where are we at? Cutting special ed. Getting rid of our librarians. Stopping teacher training. I think I heard you mention tonight that teacher training and like that teachers learning more about their profession can only be a benefit for our students, right? Okay, let's see. We're gonna get rid of any equipment that our children are used to learn. Nurses, out, okay. Social workers, wow. Now, there I can say we're kind of privileged because in the city of Tempe, we have Care 7, but then if everybody goes ahead and these next few elections are depending who's on city council and they just want to cut taxes, because we're always about cutting taxes, then we'll lose that too. Attendance services, where we encourage our families to make sure their kids get to school, and then we go above and beyond to make sure that we know the reason why they weren't getting them there and help them with that reason. People, it's gone. So I'm concerned And I want to make sure that you guys in the room, just in case you didn't know that this is a big concern, that's the only reason why I'm bringing it up. I'm not necessarily telling people how to vote for it. That this is a hot topic, and it's being talked very little about. And so I'm hoping that the district is aware that easily 8 points of our budget is possibly going to be gone unless we can prove to the community that our children are worth it. So do your homework, people. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Ewers. Mr. Lemon.
Thank you, Madam President. I too went to the meeting, it's for our city, is that what it's called? Yeah. And it was great. You know, I was right there at the front, and Dr. Driscoll was exactly right. He should sit at one end or the other so he can be first or last. After that meeting, I was kind of impressed about what we're doing at TD3. And so I went by the Conley Curry build, and I was really impressed to see the huge cranes putting in the roof beams. And I guess they're going to have a topping out ceremony sometime, right? Not yet. No, we don't know?
Coming 2027.
Okay. Well, anyway, it was very impressive, and it just hundreds of people all over building things for our kids. And I'm just grateful that we're doing that, and we're looking for something, 10, 20 years down the line, not 10 or 20 months from now. And I appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lemon. I also had the honor of going to the Forest City event. I think the thing that, besides being enamored by Dr. Driscoll's comments, of course, I was impressed with the, not just the movers and shakers that were in the room, but people who are truly committed to community and students. And I was impressed by the strong leadership that all 3 public school districts sent to that panel, because they weren't the only ones on the panel, but they were clearly the standouts in their statements and in their commitment that was demonstrated verbally and clearly to the audience. This past week, I believe we had the Native American Parent Committee elections. Impressive. I don't know that everybody knows this, but Native American education program is funded through an entitlement grant, Title VI, and required to have parent committees, as well as all of our other Title I grants, title grants, including Title I. And I think that that's important for people to learn, because I think it's like 32 people in the Title I stakeholder group that have to be involved in the decisions on how those monies are spent. And so when people have opinions about, I wonder why they use the money for this. It's like, the district did not make that decision. That goes through a number of individuals that get to weigh in, including other elected officials, business partners, employers of students. Cafeteria managers can be on that, paraprofessionals, teachers, administrators. It goes on and on and on, huge list. Parents, students are required to be in the Title I stakeholder group as well. So I love when people say, oh, well, Title I can pay for that, right? And you're like, well, I've got to contact a few people before I can answer that. So I was impressed that you guys did the Native American Parent Committee elections, and you guys are right on top of it, because that's hard to get going in the beginning of the year. All right, with that, let's move on to 10:01. May I have a motion? Oh, no, excuse me, 9:01. I skipped it. 9:01, announcements. There will be an agenda committee meeting on Wednesday, August 26th at 11 a.m. The next regularly scheduled governing board meeting will be Wednesday, September 2nd at 7 p.m. The 2026 ASBA Delegate Assembly will be September 9th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the JW Marriott Camelback Inn Resort and Spa. The 2026 ASBA 50th Annual Law Conference will be September 9th through the 11th at the JW Marriott Camelback Inn Resort and Spa. Now, 10:01, may I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Terry and seconded by Mr. Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, meeting is adjourned.